This is Camera B, and this is the Oscars 88th Academy Awards special.
Yes, it is. Hello. We're basically going to work our way through some of the awards and we'll see what terrible things happen. But hopefully, we're trying some new technology. Hopefully, this is going to work.
Yeah. Now we saw we saw the Oscars live, but this is being recorded after the fact.
Yeah, it is. So we've prepared a nice list, which you can see kind of above here now. Hopefully, if this is working, and we'll just work our way through them. So, should we start then with best visual effects?
Yes. So I feel like we need to explain. Our prediction is what we thought would win the Oscar. Our vote is what we wanted to win the Oscar.
Yeah, that just kind of makes sense. So, these are the nominees. Now, I don't know, looking at these, I should probably make it clear now, this is going to be important as we go through. I haven't yet seen Mad Max Fury Road.
That's right.
Which is kind of a big deal.
It is, yeah, it's a very big deal. And it was a very good film in 2015, and I didn't expect it to do as well as it did.
No, but I'm sure we'll definitely come to that. Also on this list, Ex Machina. I also haven't seen that one.
No, you didn't. And I had seen this one, and it was a very good film also.
Yeah. So, I mean, based on that then, obviously you're predicting Mad Max, and you were voting for that one as well.
Yeah.
I was basically predicting The Revenant because that was the only one that I had seen that I thought could win Best Visual Effects. Shall we reveal the actual winner?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Which, I don't know. I was surprised by this.
I wasn't that surprised when they went through the previews of the films, and I got reminded of the effects that were in Ex Machina. I did think, well, actually, that could win it. And I think it's because I saw Mad Max more recently than I saw Ex Machina that Mad Max had really stuck into my head. But of course, I remember watching Mad Max and thinking, it looks fantastic. And I remember watching Ex Machina and being more engrossed in the story than the visual effects.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, this is what one I can't really comment on this one, having seen none of the top contenders for this other than The Revenant. But oh well. Should we progress to the next one? Yeah.
So next is film editing. So let's take a look at these nominations.
Now, okay, so looking at this one here, I would potentially change my prediction now, thinking about it, to The Big Short.
Right, I see.
I think, because from an editing point of view, that one felt kind of special. But I understood why I predicted The Revenant.
Yeah, and I also understand why I predicted The Revenant, but I wanted Big Short to win because the editing in it was just fantastic.
So, should we have a look at which one won?
Yeah, let's see. Mad Max.
Which is, again, okay, well, I can't really comment on this one, but...
I disagree with this one.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it should have been either The Big Short or The Revenant, really. Mad Max's editing was good, nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't anything special.
Well, I mean, there we go. That's the way it works. But people were saying, I believe, that they weren't surprised by this, weren't they? Quite a few people we saw on the live coverage.
Yeah, apparently. And I guess they're just better at this than we are.
Yeah, which is going to become very clear as we progress through this. Should we move on to the next one then?
Let's do that.
Okay. So, best costume design. Yeah, okay. Right, so looking at this one, I wanted the Danish Girl to win because I love the costumes in that, but I thought that Carol would.
Yeah, and I thought they would too. And I thought maybe Mad Max might be a contender because of the ridiculousness of the costumes there. But I thought Carol had better costumes. But I can certainly see why. Oh, we haven't revealed the winner yet, have we?
No, we're going to in a second. I would have also understood when we talked about this a bit before the Oscars, actually, just you and I could kind of understand The Revenant maybe getting a nod in this one, but at the same time, it's, the costumes, maybe they weren't so great. Should we have a look at which one won? Yeah. We're going to start to spot a pattern here.
Which, okay, fair enough. They did have some good costumes. I just feel Carol had a subtler but more effective use of them.
Yeah, I mean, were they that great, the costumes in Mad Max, really?
They were pretty good, yeah. But, it's a post-apocalyptic world, so I can see why they might find it amazing because there are these fantastical costumes that are in this post-apocalyptic world. Unfortunately, I just think that Carol used the costumes better to illustrate the characters than Mad Max did.
Yeah. Well, clearly people don't agree with us
No.
because we both predicted that one. We'll move on to the next one then. And the next one up is best makeup and hairstyling. And it's interesting here that we both predicted and wanted The Revenant.
Yes, because I remember, again, Mad Max, a worthy contender, but it's, again, another very in-your-face contender, whereas The Revenant was a subtler, and I think its subtlety had a bigger impact on me than Mad Max did.
Well, shall we say which one?
Yeah.
Oh, what a surprise. It was Mad Max. Yeah, so everything that you just said there was wrong, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, The Revenant, I just think that one should have won.
It was fantastic, yeah.
It was just, I don't know what it was about it, but the way that the people looked, made me think that was sure to win. But clearly, clearly I know nothing.
I think it's the close-ups of the injuries that sealed my prediction.
Yeah, but we were absolutely wrong because we both predicted and wanted it to win, and it didn't. Moving on to the next one then, best cinematography. Now, already looking at this, it looks like there's a clear winner in what we want there. So you predicted The Revenant.
I did, yes.
But you wanted Carol.
I did.
Okay, well, I think at this point I was looking at my list of predictions and I'd predicted The Revenant to win everything. So at this point I was thinking, I can't really predict it to win another one, which is kind of why I put it to Carol. But I wanted Carol to win. Should we have a look at which actually won?
See.
I'm kind of happy with that. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I thought they would win because it is the prettier film. But Carol, I think, used its cinematography in a better way.
Now, when we reviewed this, and I don't think the review for that is out yet, it'll probably be out in a couple of weeks, we did like the cinematography in The Revenant, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Yeah,
and there's nothing bad about it, but, a lot of it was impressive technically, and more technically impressive than impressive in the storytelling.
Yeah, I guess so, but there we go, it won. It's that shot up the cliff that did it, that one continuous movement up the side of the cliff. I think that's what won it for them.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one then is best production design. Now, this is a bit of a mix in terms of predictions of votes here. So you wanted The Revenant to win, but thought The Martian would?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So why did you think that?
The Revenant, it looked better to me. Production looked better to me. But The Martian, I think, looked more impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, The Martian, it was those spacesuits really that clinched it. I thought for those spacesuits and those sorts of ships and things, I absolutely want it to win. And I thought it would.
You thought.
It didn't. Let's have a look then, shall we? Mad Max.
Once again.
At this point, I think, struggling really to say more things about Mad Max. We were very wrong.
I think fair game on this one.
Okay, well, that's all right then. That's not too bad. Okay, next one that was up. Best sound mixing. Now, I think this one was a hotly contested one between you and I. Let's have a look at what we had. So you predicted and wanted The Martian, whereas I predicted and wanted The Revenant. Explain your choice, Leslie.
I think The Martian... Now, I will say that we didn't see this with the best speaker setup. So
yeah, it was broken.
That was probably... Maybe I was imagining it better than it really was, because clearly I didn't actually hear how it was.
I think that's what it was.
Be.
Yeah, I think so.
But in my imagination, they really got the space sounds right.
Yeah, I see what you mean, but in The Revenant, it was the use of silence as well that really got it for me, and the fact that they were willing to just let things be quiet for a moment. I thought that the sound mixing on that was fantastic.
Yeah, and I can certainly see why you would think that, because the nature sounds particularly are very good in that.
Mm. And then I also kind of thought that potentially we might be looking at a Star Wars kind of thing where we want to at least get some nod to Star Wars, but neither of us predicted or wanted that. Yeah. So should we have a look at which one actually won?
Let's go ahead.
Mad Max.
Mad Max.
There we go again.
I'm kind of not too sure about this one.
Aren't you?
No. The sound was good. Is it Oscar worthy? Was the sound mixing Oscar worthy? I don't know.
Well, clearly people thought that it was. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
I need to see some convincing arguments for that one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll move on from that one for a little bit and we'll look at best sound editing. So kind of similar. What's the difference then really between sound editing and sound mixing in your sort of words?
I can't remember. I did read this a long time ago, but now I'm making this up, right?
Okay.
Sound mixing, I believe, is basically mixing the different sound sources for effect and clarity, or maybe a compromise between the two, whatever. And sound editing is really the sounds themselves.
Yeah, I would imagine that sound editing is more of the man-made sounds that they have to introduce into it and what they get for that. So the nominees then in this one were Mad Max Fury Road, The Martian, The Revenant, Sicario, and Star Wars. You wanted and thought Sicario would
I
win.
did, yeah. It had fantastic sound in that. The guns, the gun battles sounded fantastic, convincing sounds, particularly when what's her face is going through the mines.
Okay, well, I haven't seen that one, so that's one I've got to watch, and there will be a review for that one coming out fairly soon. The Martian, though, again, I just thought that some of the sounds that included were really very good. But should we have a look at which one
Yeah,
won?
let's see this.
Mad Max Fury Road.
Now, giving them both sound Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of those things where you'd imagine that this is a situation where they could, sort of give it to both people at once by giving one award to one to the other. I don't like the fact that they didn't.
Exactly. Yeah, and of
Maybe it was
course,
just really good.
you shouldn't have an effect on a different award based on a previous award. But yeah,
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But we'll move on from this point to the next award, Best Original Score. Now, okay, so this one, I thought that Star Wars, even though the score we kind of reviewed it as a bit meh, I thought that this one might actually win it.
and I can see why. I didn't. Again, you haven't seen Sicario,
No.
but the music in that heightens the tension of it. Well, whereas Star Wars is a very good score as a standalone, Sicario isn't particularly a good score if you listen to it in and of itself, but when implemented into the film, stands out for me fantastically.
But you wanted Carol to win.
I did, because whereas Sicario heightened the tension for me, Carol heightened the emotion.
See, I really wanted Bridge of Spies to win because there were particular tracks in that soundtrack that I really liked. And like you say there, it was to do with the emotion. I picked up on real emotions during some of those Bridge of Spies soundtrack moments. But should we have a look at what actually won?
Yeah, let's see it.
So I have to get it back up on the screen. And then
Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight.
Fair enough, this one, I think. I saw
think?
I saw the Hateful Eight the day before the Oscars had come out. And so I was thinking of maybe changing it, but then I decided no in the end. So I can totally see why that got it.
So you're happy with that one?
Yeah,
Then?
I'm happy with that one.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. I still would have liked Bridge of Spies to win, but I was surprised actually that Star Wars didn't, and I kind of feel like they mentioned during the ceremony they gave a shout out to John Williams, didn't they?
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised even at that point that I thought maybe that was, I don't know. But anyway, we'll move on to the next one, which was Best Animated Feature Film, and really there was only one choice.
Yeah, this one's an easy category every year, really.
I mean, I suppose Anomalisa is one that potentially we haven't seen it, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem because, Oscar voters, they're not going to see every single film, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to say, "Oh, let's watch Shaun the Sheep," so that we can really make sure.
Shaun the Sheep is good.
So, well, I haven't seen it, and I had only seen Inside Out, and I thought Anomalisa, it looked good, so maybe it had a fighting chance. But again, in this case, I think it's more about the popularity.
Yeah. So in that case, it's no surprise then at all that Inside Out, that was the winner of that one. Yeah, I mean, I really liked Inside Out. You never seem as convinced when you talk about it.
It's a good film, but it's a good kids film.
I see. I think from an adult's point of view, watching that gives you a real sense of understanding how kids think, and I really like that.
Yeah, and it's not a film that as an adult you can't watch. And you can watch it on your own, and it still hits you. But again, it's a kids' film, and I always feel like people give certain allowances to kids' films because they're kids' films.
Yeah, okay, maybe. I mean, I can kind of understand that. Okay, well, the next one then that we'll go on to is Best Adapted Screenplay. And for this, we kind of had a weird combination of predictions and
Yeah,
votes
we
here.
did.
So, hold on a minute. I predicted that Carol would, but wanted The Big Short. I think I'm kind of happy with that, and you with the other way around.
Yeah, because I wanted Carol to win. That hit me harder. But The Big
Yeah, well,
Short,
you keep saying this. I think I need to rewatch it because I'm still not convinced about this.
The Big Short was a fantastic script, a fantastic screenplay. When I was watching it, I was thoroughly impressed. But it doesn't hit you as raw as Carol does.
Okay, so shall we have a look at which one actually won then? Because you kind of expect from that it would be Carol. No, it was The Big Short.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, I'm happy with that.
I'm happy because it's prediction, my predicted one, but
But you're not really happy because it's not what you wanted.
no, it's not what I wanted. But I can see why, and I can't say that they shouldn't have done that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think that one was fair enough, and I'm pretty happy about that. I was happy when it was announced.
Yeah.
Although I didn't win the prediction. Okay, so the next one then, Best Original Screenplay. Let's have a look at the nominations for this one. And okay, so Bridge of Spies. I thought that was going to win, but I wanted Inside Out, and you the other way around.
Yeah, yeah. I thought Inside Out is a very raw, it's a very emotional screenplay. I think it would hit people hard. So I thought that might win it, but I did prefer Bridge of Spies.
But should we have a look at what actually won?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Spotlight.
And again, I guess because Spotlight does hit you hard. And it's also the more adult of the films, and I can totally see why they would choose it.
Yeah, I don't know whether I think of it as an original screen. I don't know. I don't know if it would have taken that for me, but it's not what I predicted. I can kind of understand it though.
Yeah.
Next award then, Best Supporting Actress, and it's kind of clear what we thought in this one here, isn't it?
Yeah.
We both wanted and thought that Rooney Mara would win for her performance in Carol.
I thought this was a sure bet.
Yeah, I would completely hold still on that one now. Shall we have a look at which one actually won then?
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah. Because really, let's be honest, Alicia Vikander is a supporting actress, that's fine.
Yeah.
Rooney Mara really is a lead actress.
Well, then she can't be in this category, so that's fine.
And so really, if you compare the two performances, watch them, Rooney Mara clearly did better.
Yeah, okay, so I get what you're saying. I can't remember exactly how we reviewed her performance in the Danish Girl one. I think that's the one that's coming out this week, the review. Did we like her performance in that?
Yeah, we liked it, and we thought she was better than Eddie Redmayne.
I would agree with that, yeah. But
well,
there we go.
Oscar Wilde, I mean, she was great in Ex Machina as well. She's not nominated for Ex Machina, but she was great in it.
Well, there we go. That's what that one was. I was a bit surprised by that, but there we go. Shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Best Supporting Actor. Okay, so again, we were both pretty clear, and actually kind of surprisingly, we agreed on this one as well. Tom Hardy, The Revenant. I would say that was a fantastic performance. He was amazing in that.
I completely agree.
Shall we have a look at who actually won then? Mark Rylance, Bridge of Spies. Now, okay, full disclosure, we should say that it was a little while ago that we watched Bridge of Spies before we started thinking about this kind of review thing. So maybe we were thinking about it in the wrong way, but I'm not 100% convinced that if we were to watch it again now, we would put him down as Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Tom Hardy was more capturing to the audience than Mark Rylance. And you know what? I was thinking about this, and I'm thinking Mark Rylance's character written down is not a very interesting character. But Mark Rylance did make him interesting. So is that a testament to his acting skill? Maybe that's why.
Okay, yeah, maybe I can see that. I mean, there were moments during that film that it was very good, but I would sort of said Tom Hardy, The Revenant.
Yeah.
But well, what do we know, clearly? Next award then was Best Actress. Now, for this one, I don't know why I predicted that Cate Blanchett would win, but I kind of had a feeling that might be it. But you predicted and wanted Brie Larson.
I did, yes.
So we have a look at what happened. Brie Larson. Okay, that's great.
That's fantastic, yeah. And I completely agree because Cate Blanchett, yeah, she was fantastic. But Brie Larson, wow. much better. The emotion that she captured in there, just her face, the small words, talking to a kid as well, brilliant.
Yeah, it was very good, and I can completely understand that, and I can get behind that award without any issues. The other people, Jennifer Lawrence, I don't know whether that would have been. We've just released a review for Joy actually, and I don't think either of us thought that that was a Best Actress performance.
No, and she's certainly a good actress, but not the best.
No, I think we both agreed that she was amazing in it, but not equal to necessarily some of the other nominees here.
Yeah, exactly.
Next award, then, let's have a look. So it was the Best Actor award, and our predictions and our votes here are cast all over the place. I thought that Eddie Redmayne might win this one. You thought Michael Fassbender, and thought that he should.
Yeah, I did. I know Eddie Redmayne won it, I think the previous year or maybe the year before, I'm not entirely sure. And I know that he was skeptical of winning it this year. And I can understand why, because you know what, his performance was kind of meh.
Yeah,
And I thought Michael Fassbender did a standout job as Steve Jobs. But you know what? I can s- he is he does play, you know, a prick in a lot of his films.
yeah. I kind of thought that Eddie Redmayne, just because the topic of that film might make it fairly Oscar worthy in itself. But should we have a look at which one actually
Yeah,
won?
let's take a look.
Yeah, my vote there for Matt Damon in The Martian. I just love that film. That's basically it. I think I don't really have a problem with this at all.
I have
you
a
know,
problem with this.
Go on then. What's your problem?
Leonardo DiCaprio totally deserves an Oscar. Absolutely. Four times over, maybe five times over. But not for this. He's done so many better performances than The Revenant. And he deserves Oscars for those performances, but he doesn't deserve an Oscar for this.
There were moments during this though where you looked at it and the things that he was able to convey in his acting, not necessarily just what he was saying, but what he was doing with his face, and particularly that blinking scene as well. That was pretty good work.
Yeah, it was very good, very good.
But you don't think it was Oscar worthy?
He's done better.
Yeah, but you can't. Okay, yeah, but it's this year. You have to look at it, in isolation.
I think there was very little for him to work with. It was little,
Uh,
there wasn't so much that he could show off there.
okay, all right, yeah, okay, I think that's all right. Next award then, Best Director, and this one, The Big Short. But I thought that The Revenant might take this one.
Yeah, and I can understand why. I thought voting The Revenant for Best Picture, but I thought The Big Short had a more innovative and maybe a heavy-handed director feel to it that's pushing it toward a certain style, and I loved the style, so I predicted and voted for them.
Yeah, from a directing point of view, I think it was really great. I just thought that it was maybe too out there to be nominated and to win. But let's have a look at what actually won. The Revenant.
Yeah.
I got a prediction right. Who would have ever guessed that such a thing would happen?
So yeah, I guess I can see why,
But you don't
but I
seem convinced.
disagree.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I was asking you this question about where the line sort of comes between cinematographer and director, and it looks great. Yeah, I can see why it won. I'm not sure that I'm convinced that it should have done. But
Yeah, because the cinematographer, well, that was the cinematographer's. Cinematography was the cinematographer's job. Director can have, a hand in it, but really the cinematographer is the expert here, and he's the one who really calls the shots in a partial way. I mean, I know that Alejandro has worked with this particular cinematographer before, and they've produced some fantastic results. So they probably work very well together, and so they probably do have a lot of overlap in this particular film. But I thought for the best director, The Big Short was something that was new, that was innovative, and maybe this director, maybe Adam McKay will win something a little bit later on when he's really perfected his style.
yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just not time yet. But I think we're going to see more good things out of that director, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so next award.
And our last award.
And our last award, and the big one, and for this we even have to get rid of our faces
Yeah.
because the nominations for this, well, there were quite a lot.
Yeah, unusually a lot.
So for this one then, you predicted, well, we both predicted and both thought that The Revenant would win. Do you still stand by that?
I do. Yeah. I
You
mean,
think that that's the best
I
picture?
was on the border of voting for The Big Short, but I'm happy. I'm more happy voting for The Big Short for Best Director than the Best Picture as a whole.
Okay, so if you hadn't have predicted or voted The Revenant, you think it would be The Big Short?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I would probably agree that that's probably where I would go. But shall we have a look at what actually
Yeah.
won?
Let's take a look.
Okay, Spotlight.
Yeah. Completely disagree with this one.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
I mean,
Best Picture.
it's like it was good, yeah, but it was one of those films that when we reviewed it, we both kind of said, yeah, it's good, but it's not the best.
Exactly. Yeah. But then again, this is coming from the same people who voted 12 Years a Slave for Best Picture.
Yeah, I mean, well, what can I say really? That's kind of yeah. I don't know how that happened, but it did.
Yeah, and I would disagree with it. I think Spotlight was one of the weaker films in this list.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think I would agree with that, but it won, and I think the only thing that I did say is that when Lady Gaga did a performance, didn't she, during it?
Yeah.
And there was a moment during that where I thought maybe that indicates that people think this is a really big deal, this kind of theme that the movie has. So maybe that made, I don't know, I'm still not sure.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It did have a very big reaction. I suppose they can't really not react to it. What are you going to do? You're a famous person being filmed. What are you going to do? Not clap and cheer at this? So, but yeah, I guess, I don't know. I didn't find it particularly endearing. I don't like to mix entertainment with political and social issues.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, but maybe that's going to happen more and more. And I mean, we should both say it was good. I think we both enjoyed it and we came out of it saying it was good. We just didn't think it was the best thing we'd seen recently.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Oscar really deserves to go somewhere else.
I mean, yeah, okay, so The Revenant on The Big Short were the two that we sort of thought, weren't they?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I could have seen a lot of these potentially winning. Like Bridge of Spies I thought was pretty good, but maybe not good enough. Mad Max is kind of even surprising that didn't maybe take it after all the things it won.
Yeah. I wasn't thinking Revenant, Room, or The Big Short.
Yeah, yeah, I think I would probably agree with that, but Spotlight wouldn't have been on my list of... I thought it was down with the likes of Brooklyn and even The Martian, of things that, yeah, they were good, and it's good that it got the nomination, but was never going to win.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Okay, so that was Best Picture then. Should we have a look at how we did overall during the predictions? Let's have a look at the total count and bring us back there. You did 4 predictions and 2 votes. I bet you feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think we had a total of about 20-ish things that we were predicting for. So, that's a 20% prediction rate. That's not bad.
No, that's not bad. We'll have a look at mine. 2 predictions, but 3... Well, I'm kind of... Given that I'm fairly confident in saying I'm new to this whole thing and pretty bad at predicting things usually, I don't think that's too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, clearly your tastes are more in line with the Oscar voters than I am.
Yeah, more of what I wanted to won. So that's good. But I just obviously can't predict what they're actually going to do. You're much better at that. You're twice as good at that as I am, but you're still pretty rubbish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that probably brings it to the end of our Oscar coverage then, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's everything. I mean, the Oscars, 88th Oscars, I mean, it was pretty good. I don't know, I think political issues here. I do think they leaned very heavily on the race thing, and I got pretty tired of that pretty early on.
They did, yeah. I mean, it was basically pretty much every segment talked about it, at least to some degree, and there were even some special videos about it, and the opening monologue spent the entire time talking about it. I get that it's an issue, and I know that people's eyes need to be open to it, but spending the whole ceremony doing that, I wasn't convinced that was a great thing to do.
Yeah, and I don't think the answer is attacking the Oscars.
No. It's kind of... I feel bad for the people that did win them as well when they say, oh, you're only nominated because of the colour of your skin. That...
Yeah, exactly.
Makes me feel a bit bad, but...
And then what happens... Well, political issues, it's...
Yeah. But, I mean, the ceremony overall, I was pretty happy with it. I think this is the first one I've watched in full. There were definitely the cheesy moments that I've come to expect, but it was all right. It was good.
Yeah, pretty decent. Nothing particularly bad. Yeah, and again, the cheesy moments that were obviously annoying. But what can you do? It's America.
Okay, yeah, we're just writing off the whole country. And I think that is definitely as good a place as anywhere to end this episode. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this slightly new format. I hope that technical-wise it's kind of worked out okay. We're doing many complicated things to bring this to you. You can find out more by going to h9blog.com/camera-b, and of course you can watch this video and all of our other videos in the series on YouTube as well. You can just go to our YouTube channel, and remember, like and subscribe, as we always say. But I think that's about it for this episode then. Should we say bye-bye? Bye.